We'll get things started with our men's coaches show. Please welcome our head men's basketball coach, Brian Baroni. I'll start the same place I started when we were talking with the women's coaches and with Macy, but that overtime game in Nashville, and it's the same sentiment. It's tough to go on the road and win a game. It's tough to go on the road and win an overtime game on the road, and that's what your guys pulled together and did on that Thursday night.
Oh, I mean, it was the best part. Winning was the best part of that game. That was fun. But the best part about it was Sam having her team there for us in that double overtime game. I truly don't think that we have the extra oomph that we needed in that second overtime without them. I mean, they were into it. You heard them. It felt like they were part of the community here. I mean, it was awesome, and that was really cool because doubleheaders they've come up with their own challenges.
Yeah, sure.
And for them to get that win right before us, and then to be part of our win, because they truly were, because they were such a huge part of that win, and so it was a heck of a time, and for us to both come out of there with a win the way we did.
You dropped the Saturday game at UT Martin, but one of the things that stuck with me was just hearing you talking to the guys and hearing the kind of acceptance. It was a very close game, right? High-scoring game, close game. But hearing the acceptance of, there were some things we did or didn't do defensively that ended up losing us that game. And again, and we've talked about this, but they were receptive to hearing that from you.
Yeah, I mean, this team, ever since the Indiana game, my old coach, Coach Crean, we talked after the game, and he talked about why we lost the game at Indiana, and they're good, but we really truly felt that we didn't do what we should have done, and this team has responded to critiques, to our criticism, to the coaching, to each other's failures and successes. So we learned that early with this team, and we have to take ownership, be self-aware. We talk about it all the time. Because you can't go on the road and have a defensive performance like we did and then have some other factors come into play and overcome it all, the way that you needed to that particular day. So we owned it. We came back and got right back to work. And it's something that's really been fun to be able to do with this team.
High-scoring game against Tennessee State, high-scoring game against UT Martin. Turns out to be a really high-scoring game against Southern Indiana. It's not the way that you had been playing previously, but you still come out 2 wins in 3 games. And I'm repetitive, but you are finding ways to win, different ways to win games.
Yeah, we've needed to. I mean, with Arnie being out, he's a big presence to our defense. Not just shot blocking. He's an unbelievable communicator. He takes up space, and he's in the right type of position. We have different coverages with our other guys that are in his position. So we have to, so that affects our guards. Mm-hmm. So now our guards have to have a different kind of coverage based on who's in the game from the forward and center position. So we figured it out a little bit. We didn't defend the way that we had been defending. We have to take ownership on our one-on-one defense, but we still were able to find ways to get it done, and that was a credit to the guys on the court, to the coaching staff. Very, very well prepared in all the scouts. The guys have really latched on to the scouting, and it was nice when we were trying to find ourselves with a literally and figuratively huge loss on our team to still kind of navigate and figure out some ways to get the job done.
So Saturday you've got Morehead State obviously coming in as the leader in the OVC, and this was a very slow, very sloppy game. The officials set the tone early that if you looked at a guy wrong, the whistle was going to blow. So there was really no flow in that game, and this is where the defense. This is the defense that we had seen coming in. The defense came to play.
Yeah, I mean, that was nice. If you looked at a guy wrong, they blew the whistle. So I'll take a deep breath, and then there were some rules where you can be out of bounds and touch the ball, and that was unique, and we were able to run far without dribbling the ball. So it was fun to kind of be part of that style of play. And our guys really defended when we needed to.
Yeah.
That I do think that there wasn't a great flow in that game.
Right.
I thought that on both ends, there's no doubt about it. And we were able to. I told the guys in the locker room today, it was neat because we had 3 guys that were prominent players minute-wise on the team with 2 fouls pretty early in that half, and they did as well.
They also did.
And so right then, the ability to look down on the bench and not go like, what do I got to do? Like, we just got to limp into halftime. I didn't have that feeling because of the guys in the preparation throughout the entire week, and we were able to kind of go into half. Hadn't made any threes. It was a nasty 33-30. It wasn't a great little situation, but we were down 3, and it wasn't flowing the right way, but we were still defending. So we tapped into our kind of memory bank from the Tennessee Tech game when we hadn't really been scoring, but we were still guarding. And then, we held them. They hit that 40-point mark, and I think for the next 9 minutes, I don't know if they scored.
Right.
And that's a credit and a testament to the guys out there on the court. When we weren't making a whole lot of baskets, it didn't affect how we were defending. And a lot of times it does. And we didn't want to break, we weren't going to break. And then we saw the ball go in and we kept defending, and then that's when we turned it.
It's good for me as well to hear that from players. I heard it from Rayshon Taylor after the game when he was talking in the post game that he said, we felt like, and back to the kind of high-scoring games, the 80 points isn't really who we are. That we're more the 55 points that was on Saturday against Morehead State. And essentially he said, we knew we could be back to that, and we were today.
Yeah, I mean, that's ironic racing. Right? It's got 1,600 points. It'd be a little bit different if Dez was saying it or Macho or somebody. But, I mean, that again, we talk about being self-aware. I mean, there are times where you have to still win the game in ways that isn't necessarily your identity, but is your identity figuring it out. And we have faith that it is. We have faith that we're putting the work in to be able to figure those things out. But it was it was nice to get back into what our guys take pride in. Our guys take pride in the defensive end because they take pride in one another. And they want each other to understand that they have each other's back. And there's really no better way. An assisted basket is one way, and then just really good team defense is another way to be like, man, I got your back.
We've talked for so long about where the program is going, where it's come from, the progress it's made. So you think of a game like Saturday, and again, and last year, same kind of thing. The first place team comes in, and this is not just look, that's a nice little upset of the first place team. No, that's a game that puts you in the mix to be the first place team and to be the top of this league. Do you think about that? Like, just think about 3 years ago, that wouldn't be the case. That would be like, oh, SIUE got a nice little upset. Mm-hmm. No, now they don't want to come to Edwardsville because they're going to get beat up.
Yeah, I do. I mean, I'm human. You go through all the stuff that we've been through as a personal side on a family. I mean, family members that we've lost between me and my wife, and we had a child when I didn't have a child, and then I had a child on the eclipse. 8 years ago. So the human side of it, you go through that Rolodex of time. And then you really appreciate the effort and the people that have been there with you, yourself being there by my side from day one. And I think that's one of the things that, it's okay to reference that. But if there's ever a time in college, in sports, to stay in the now, it's now.
Yeah.
And because they might have just changed 3 rules since you and I were talking. So we have to figure out what's going. Yeah, I mean, we might have 4 more years. I hope they do. The local kids can stay an extra year. That'd be a good rule to change. I'm going to go petition for that one. So I think we have to stay in the now. Part of being in the now is our business-like approach, our hard-working, our hard-hat approach, because Thursday is the game we have to get after. But you also have to. I mean, we have one run at this thing.
Yep.
So let's really enjoy the path that got us here. And so I go out there and you look at the community and you look at. I was just over at Chick-fil-A and like people are just getting sandwiches. Like we're feeding the community now because we're following the right guy. But they might have to remix their thought process on that promotion. But part of it is the community is there for us. And it's a funny little way of saying it, but it's our job and obligation, and in me on a personal level, to sit there and every day to be as grateful as I am to be the head coach here and appreciative to be part of this community that has embraced me and my family on a personal level, and then these group of guys that I really appreciate coaching. It's nice for them to go out there and represent us the right way in a setting that is a big time game. All right, it was a game that mattered.
Yep.
And it's the halfway point, but this community and these guys deserve to be part of that type of game. And if it went out the other way, if we unfortunately would have lost that game, we were going to be better for it because we were in that game that it probably quite literally had never really been in this program before, and we're better for it.
We're going to talk about the second half of the season. On the other side, we do have, as you call him, Macho, with us here tonight.
Yep.
Miles Thompson will join us in just a second. Thanks, Coach. We'll see you back in a few minutes.
Appreciate it.
Segment number 2 tonight on our men's side has the junior from Hutchinson, Kansas. Welcome, Miles Thompson, to the Coach's Show. Thanks, man, for joining us. I greatly appreciate it, and I'm always curious when we get a chance to do this for the first time. What was it about SIUE that attracted Miles Thompson to SIUE?
It was really a number of things, obviously, which will probably come up later. But Ring was also being recruited here, so that was one thing about it. But another thing was just coming on the visit, and it felt right. I went on other visits and maybe just didn't feel as good about it, but I thought, through the recruiting process, all the staff was genuine, and we just had a lot of good interactions, and it felt I'd never been too far away from home, so
Yep.
It was, I knew wherever I ended up was going to be, so I just wanted to be somewhere where I knew I could, build those relationships, be comfortable.
That makes a difference. People don't always think about that, right? But you are going away from home. You want to be in a spot that feels like home.
Yeah, right. Yeah, and that's kind of what I had said when I had talked to the staff, was just I just want to be able to be in a place with good people and build those relationships. Be a place that feels like I got a second family kind of thing.
You mentioned Ring, and you said obviously that made a difference. And Ring was on the show with us a couple of weeks ago, said the exact same thing. But you two have a unique connection, winning a national championship together. That has to be something special that you share between the two of you.
Yeah, it's there's not really anything like it. It was, yeah, it's a crazy thing, like when it really happens, and we were like, it was already, it took a while to even settle in,
Yeah.
But yeah, we won it, and yeah, it's going to be something that obviously we both remember for forever, and it's something that's going to tie us together for a long time. So
The other thing that I hear coaches talk about all the time is you can't put a price on winning, and they're talking about bringing student athletes in that have experience winning, which you and Ring, you did a lot of at Barton Community College. How much do you take that with you coming here to the Division I level?
I think it gives you a confidence, I think, a little bit. I think, we've played a lot of close games, and that's the way this league is.
Yep.
You play a lot of close games, and I think that it helps to have won those games before when you're going down the stretch, and you have confidence that you can make the winning plays to help win the game. And then obviously, I think coming in here with obviously alongside a few guys who have laid a foundation and continue to improve upon every year what they've stacked is also helps. So
How much does that play into it, knowing that you're at a spot that is taking those steps forward, and you have an opportunity to be part of something that is growing and is moving towards history ultimately?
Well, I probably should have said that originally. That was part of the the whole reason of coming here, was there was already a good foundation in place, and you knew the returners that were coming onto the team. You knew the direction had been trending, and I think me and Ring, both of us, I think, and he would agree with this, we wanted to, play somewhere that we wanted a chance to play for a championship, things like that. So we really believed in what Coach and those guys had built, and we wanted to be here.
First of all, I got to ask, how'd you get the nickname Macho? Because that's all I hear Coach Baroni say. Yeah. And the first time he said it, I was like, who?
Yeah, it's caught on. It's caught on like quicker here than it has other places. It caught on at Barton, but it comes from really just my dad. When I was my dad, that's like really all my dad will call me. Like, see, I don't get called Miles a lot by my dad, so it's just something my dad started calling me when I was young, and then everybody I got close to kind of just caught on, I guess. Yeah.
I think Macho is appropriate. I recall very vividly. So the second game of the season was on the road at Indiana. Obviously a raucous crowd. It was opening night for them, and I remember commenting several times, man, Miles Thompson just isn't afraid. Just is getting right in there among the trees, among the bigger players, some of the bigger guys. It seemed like there was no fear in your game. Did you? Was there any kind of hesitation coming to Division I?
I'm a confident player. I tried. I don't really want to. I don't have a lot of. I don't want to have fear on the court. Really,
yeah.
I think Indiana. That's just like a place when you're growing up, like any kind of level like that, you dream about playing in, and so I mean but you dream about playing in it because you believe you're good enough to do it, and you believe that you can go out there and you can play with those guys. So that's I just try to play as hard as I can when I get out there, and that's all.
Couple more things for Miles Thompson here, but you heard me talk to Coach Baroni, and I have several times, about this team's willingness to sit back and critically watch film or critically look at the games and the things that you're doing with the desire that that's ultimately going to make this team better. Where does that come from as a group? Just kind of the willingness to be like, all right, look, there were some things we didn't do good.
Yeah, I think it's important to obviously go back and see where you could have been better at, even when you win. I think a lot of things shift, like when there's a few games like it's a bucket or two that and the game could be the exact same, and if you lost it, you would be looking at all these things like, man, we should have done this, you should have done this. So I think sometimes I think about that. It's just a funny way to, like, somebody makes a game-winning shot, and all of a sudden the whole post game is different, obviously, because you won, but you did the exact same things that if the shot wouldn't have gone in, that you would have been talking about later. But yeah, I think our team does a good job of that. All our guys really, seek what is going to help us win, and I think that gives us a good advantage going into the game. We got guys who are prepared. So. Yeah.
How much do you enjoy the atmosphere inside First Community Arena on home games?
Yeah, I like it a lot. It's been great. We used to get good crowds in Great Bend back in Kansas too, and this has been great. Like it hasn't felt any different, and it's been like, yeah, it's honestly way better than I expected, to be honest. But yeah, it's been great. So yeah.
All right, so final thing for you, because we've already talked. Jack McDowell, our good Cougar fans, got his hard hat on.
Yeah,
people on social media have seen your guys in the locker room with their hard hats on. So let everybody know kind of what that's about, what the hard hat boys are about.
That was just kind of a thing that I don't know if it was just him that it stemmed from, but I'll give Coach Helland all the credit because he did make a presentation about that, and he kind of instilled just kind of some values that go around the hard hat, like just toughness, things like that, and the resilience, durability, all those things. So and it's kind of been an identity our team has taken on, and I think it helps when to find ways to win. I think we've found a lot of different ways to win. And I think when you're a championship team, like you want to be a championship team, that's something that you do. You got to win when the shots aren't going in, or when they are, high scoring, low scoring. You got to make the plays in the end to win the game.
Miles, it's been a pleasure tonight to get a chance to chat with you. I think the fans would all agree it's a pleasure to watch you out there on the court as well, and we look forward to a great second half.
Can I say one more thing? 'Cause
Yeah.
I didn't get to say. I did just want to say, a lot of these games that we've been in, like we want to win. Obviously, if the outcome was different though, like I wanted. If I get in a mic, I want to say something about this. In front of a mic, I just want to say something about this. We've all already, won through Jesus Christ. So regardless of the win or loss on the court, whether these games go our way or don't, the victory's been won. But obviously, we always want to win. I just wanted to say something about that before.
Absolutely. I appreciate you, Miles. Thanks for joining us. Miles Thompson with us here. One more segment with the Cougars head coach coming right up. Final segment here with the Cougars head coach, Brian Baroni at Global Brew. Thanks to Global Brew for being a huge supporter. This is year number 2 for us here on the SIUE Basketball Coaches Show, and they have been great hosts. We appreciate it. Thanks to everyone for coming out tonight and taking in our Coaches Show, and we certainly enjoy it. It's great to get a chance for me to talk with our student athletes and our coaches, and I hope that you enjoy it as well. Second time around here in the Ohio Valley Conference. We've talked about the long schedule, 20 games, so you're halfway through. I'm sure there are games that you look at and you're like, man, we owe them one. Mm-hmm. But on the other side of that, there's probably games that they say, man, we owe them one. Yeah. So this is, and Coach Sam kind of mentioned the same thing, right? It certainly is the same kind of, it's a hungry team on both sides, but you get your first crack at a second time this year with Lindenwood and Western Illinois this week.
Yeah, I mean, it was, we those were 2 of our games right after Christmas, right?
Yep.
Yeah, so right after we got back from Christmas. And I thought that, in this conference, Miles mentioned it a second ago, but you look on the average, differentials, probably 5 points. I mean, maybe in every game. So, we try to not. You try to understand what the opponent is going to attack on you. You try to get in their mindset, whether it's a particular kind of what they feel about you and your culture and your program. How they, in the interactions, whether it's through recruiting, through just playing them over several years, with knowing their staffs, that kind of stuff. You also, want to tap into how they attacked you last time, what was successful, not successful, what are they still doing, what are they doing new. So it's a fun little, this is what coaching is.
Yeah.
This is what I enjoy about it. There's no doubt about that. And then you have a group of guys that they have their own little, battles on the court throughout that I probably don't even know them all, right? They're like a extra elbow here that took place, or maybe it's just something that, some guys had a rivalry from years past at other institutions or places they've been. So, that's what conference basketball is, and I think the OVC it's very evident. There's so much parity in this league. You have to overcome so many different variables to just simply win a game. From injuries to just illnesses to guys just playing better, guys getting eligible, all that kind of stuff. It's always something changing, so you have to be ready night in, night out.
You mentioned battles with players knowing one another, and so I just started thinking, and it's not always necessarily that you ran into him in that same school either. It might have been that you've run into him at a different school. I think about Southern Indiana. I think had someone that had played at Tennessee Tech, at UT Martin, and then at Southern Indiana. But that's the reality of it now, is that it's very possible that these guys have run into each other at another school or in another conference.
Yeah, and that's unfortunately there was a guy on. Who did we just play? The Morehead State that we had seen 4 years ago really play well against us, unfortunately, at Tennessee Tech.
Maybe that was what. Yeah, that's what I was thinking of. Yeah, Kenny White.
And he was at Murray State, and he was at Tennessee Martin last year. So we knew him, and we've had some interactions with him, and he's had some success. One thing that I'm very proud about our program is I think a lot of the teams that seem to play us are playing the guys that were here previously. With our retention and our culture and the type of people that we have on a yearly basis, obviously they're not always the same, but we've had some guys that have been in this league long enough to kind of be known by not just the other players but the other staffs. So that's kind of a little twist that I don't know if all the programs in our league necessarily have the luxury of having.
When you look at, so these two games specifically with Lindenwood on Thursday, Western Illinois on Saturday, it's two games you had success on your home floors. You mentioned it was a narrow margin, but is the mindset we need to do a little bit differently so that they're not seeing the exact same SIUE team, or is it we just need to be good at what we do because that worked the first time?
Yeah, I mean that's a great question. It's like, are you trying to like be overcoach?
Right.
Right. Just the whole keep it simple, stupid, or keep it simple, silly. All right, we got kids here. All right. So when you go back and you look at what was successful and not successful in the last game, and sometimes you have we have a lot of film breakdown and it says negative result, like we're as we label it, but it was a wide open shot.
Yep.
So maybe we didn't score on some actions that were successful last game. The result wasn't what we wanted. So what you really just have to do is you have all these ideas. I'm kind of an idea guy, but when it's all said and done, what do we do well? All right, what do we need to take away from them that they do well, and what do we do well? And let's focus on that. And with a couple tweaks and here and there, but that's something that we really try to focus on with our team.
We mentioned it a little bit, just taking the outlook of we're doing something that hasn't been done. I know that's something that's important to you on a daily basis, whether it's individuals or whether it's team goals, things like that. When you look at what's ahead of this team in the second half of the OVC, and you think, okay, 7 wins from the first half, can we at least get 7 wins the second half? I mean, you're talking about the opportunity, obviously, to get an extremely good position going into the OVC tournament. Can you look that far ahead? Can you kind of plot that out at all?
I mean, you think about it.
Sure.
I mean, you do, and I'm not going to lie and say that when you appreciate where we were and where we are, and part of this where we are is part of the plan on where we wanted to be several years ago, and so yes, you do. We talked about it with our team today. We said, we're halfway through the season. Are we satisfied with 7-3 coming at the turn? We've done some good things. We've done some things that we know that we can do significantly better. You don't want to jump ahead. Like, we have a brutal week this week. We have 4 games in 8 days, something like that, or because we play the Thursday, Saturday, Tuesday, Thursday in the OVC scheduling this week. This happens to be our little stretch with that, and that's daunting. So it could change quickly in 8 days, one way or the other. So let's just lock into the now as much as possible, while also understanding what our realistic end goal wants to be, because that's fun. I mean, this community deserves the opportunity to have these conversations. Our guys deserve the opportunity to be in a race. And if it's not successful not one night for some reason, all right, you got to still control what we can control, which is ourselves. And then put yourself in position to see where the next step is, and that's a lot of fun.
When Miles Thompson sits up here, you're in the back listening, and you hear someone say things like, "I came here because I wanted to win. I am confident going into Indiana because I feel like we belong there, and I belong there." Like, that has to speak volumes about what you're attracting to this program right now.
Yeah, or I just was like, we tricked him. That was great. we got him in that whole thing, but no, we tricked him because it's our belief and it's what we've done and it's what we plan on doing. But absolutely, it makes you feel good because you can attract winners.
Yep.
All right, when you have a plan, we didn't have a whole lot of success prior to taking over and kind of changing it collectively, the players and the staff that I've been fortunate to be around, and we want to do more, but you have to go at a particular type of person when you're recruiting them. And Miles he's true to his word. He's true to his faith. I mean, he's true to he is who he appears to be. He's a tough son of a gun, all right, but he's as genuine as they come, and there's no reason to think that he's ever going to not be successful. So you want to surround yourself with people that can be successful, and he's just one of many we have.
And by the way, and just exactly what he spoke to and what I talked to him about, and Ring, the same thing, guys that have that experience of winning the last game of the year. That's a huge deal.
Yeah, I mean, it's something that we all strive to do,
Right.
Right, and you don't want to do it because it's on the schedule,
Yep.
right? You want to do it because, you know, you go through the tournament, or you know, whatever the end result ends up being, whatever tournament you're in. You want to win that last game, and you know, I can learn. Like, he has done that. We have 2 national champions. I was talking to him on the scores table the other day, and we've referenced it several times. You're a national champion. Go out there and just continue to do what you have done. Like, I'm okay to say that I'm going to learn from these guys. Like, I want to be on top of a ladder doing what he did one day. I want to, you know, soak in that knowledge and be part of what him and Ring were fortunate enough to do. But I know why they've done it, because they're pretty darn hardworking guys, and they're good people. So, yeah, you want to surround yourself with that. You want to surround yourself with the culture that we built, the people around them. That's why we kind of we have, you know, shirts. We have different things that are creative that we do, that we try to establish our brand and our culture, and it stems from the kind of guys that we have.
Good chance for some folks to make a short trip over to Lindenwood coming up on Thursday.
Yeah, I say get them out like early, and the school, and just, you know, whatever. I think Thursdays is, well, it's a day off, right? We should just say it's a day off. We're good with it. I'm sure I have that authority. Yeah, I mean, it's a short trip. All right, it's a hot gym. We've had 2 the last couple of years. You have battles with Lindenwood. They're a good team. They're very good at home.
Yep.
They've had success at home. So we want as many people over there in red cheering for us, because, like I said about Sam's team, when we were lucky enough to have them in our overtime win at Tennessee State, it really helps. It really does. And it's not just like the noise and the rah-rah. It's just kind of that little, you know, bit of like looking at somebody, and I feel obligated to do my best, because they felt the support or need or obligation maybe to come be part of, or do that for us, to play their role in that in the game. So we want everyone to be loud, stand up, get ready to roll, and have some excitement when we're playing basketball.
Coach, as always, thanks for the time. We're coming back here 1 week from tonight, so February 3rd, and hopefully talking about a couple wins that right then.
Yeah, let's do that. That sounds good.
Thank you guys all for joining us. Thanks to Global
Thank
Brew.
you.
And we're back here on February 3rd for another edition of our Coaches Show.